Gina, stop being lazy and find a job.
I am not looking for a job. I am looking for a rich man to marry me this Christmas.
The Christmas lights hung across the streets like stars in the night sky, illuminating the festive season in the city. It was December, a time when everything seemed to shine brighter, and people were in the mood to give, share, and celebrate. But for Georgina, it wasn't just about the Christmas cheer, it was about something much bigger. It was about the life she always dreamed of, a life far away from her humble beginnings. Georgina was an 18-year-old beauty with rich brown skin that seemed to glow under the sun. She lived with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. John, in a small village where farming was their only way of life. While her parents worked tirelessly under the scorching sun, Georgina had always imagined a life of luxury, one where she wouldn't have to lift a finger or break a sweat. She had big dreams of marrying a wealthy man, a man who could whisk her away from the drudgery of farm life and give her everything she ever wanted. Her parents, loving but traditional, wanted something else for her. After finishing secondary school, they pushed her to further her education. They believed in the power of knowledge to transform her life. But Georgina had other plans. She didn't want to sit in classrooms, taking notes and learning facts that didn't interest her. She wanted the world, rich clothes, sparkling jewelry, and a life without struggle. When they asked her to join them on the farm, she flatly refused. "I'm not made for this life," she would tell them, her words sharp as she looked down at the dirt beneath her feet. They were disappointed, but they didn't understand. How could they? The moment the calendar turned to December, Georgina made a decision that shocked her parents. She quit her job at the local clothing store, a job her father had fought hard to secure for her, begging the manager to hire his only daughter. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but it was a steady income. To Georgina, though, it was just another step toward her dream. She didn't need a job. She needed a rich man. "I'm done with work. It's December, the season of enjoyment," she declared to her mother one evening, her voice full of excitement. "I'm going to find a man who can take me out of here." Her mother was furious. "You're throwing away your future for what? A rich man who may never even look at you the way you hope?" she scolded, her voice laced with frustration. But Georgina didn't care. Her mind was made up. At first, her new attitude seemed to catch her family off guard. For the first time, Georgina woke up early to help with the chores, sweeping the floors, fetching water from the well, even preparing meals. It was a side of her they had never seen. But as soon as they left for the farm, Georgina would slip into her sexy clothes, apply heavy makeup, and head down the road to the city, her eyes scanning the passing cars, waiting for the right one. She believed the life of luxury was just one man away. Days turned into weeks, and Georgina found herself disappointed. The men who stopped to talk to her were not the wealthy ones she was hoping for. They were commoners, driving old cars that were nothing compared to the flashy ones she dreamt of. Every time one of them approached, Georgina would lash out, her pride hurt. "What do you think you're doing?" she'd shout, turning her nose up at them. "Don't waste my time with your cheap car." But Christmas was coming, and Georgina had a list, an extensive list, of the things she wanted: new clothes, shoes, jewelry, and a man who could provide them all. Yet, no matter how many men she met, she wasn't getting closer to her dream. Then, on the day before Christmas, something changed. She saw him. A tall, handsome man with a deep, rich voice and a flashy, expensive car that gleamed in the winter sunlight. He was everything Georgina had been waiting for. His charm was undeniable, and Georgina felt like the universe had finally delivered her prince. "Are you lost?" he asked, his voice smooth as he leaned out of his car window. Georgina smiled, instantly recognizing that he was different. After a brief conversation, Georgina jumped into the car without a second thought. This was her moment. In the following days, the man showered her with gifts, expensive perfumes, sparkling jewelry, designer clothes. Georgina was on top of the world. She was finally living the life she had always dreamed of. She'd wear her new clothes around town, showing off her newfound wealth. The other girls watched in envy as Georgina became the most sought-after woman in the city. She felt untouchable, like the queen of her own little world, but as the weeks passed, she noticed something odd. The man, whom she had come to call her love, was distant. When Georgina tried to arrange a visit to introduce him to her parents, he kept avoiding it. At first, he claimed he was busy, but as time wore on, his excuses became more frequent. Georgina's excitement turned to frustration, then to worry. She tried to call him, text him, but nothing. The man who had once been so eager to spoil her was now gone, leaving her in the silence of unanswered calls. January arrived, and Georgina found herself alone. She searched for him, but it was as if he had disappeared from the face of the earth. Disappointed, but determined not to show weakness, Georgina carried on, pretending like she didn't care. After all, there were other men out there, right? Days turned into weeks, and Georgina's situation grew more complicated. One fateful trip to the doctor confirmed her worst fear: she was pregnant. Panic set in. Her parents asked her who the father was, but Georgina had no answer. She didn't even know his last name. He was just the man. She couldn't bring herself to tell them the truth, especially since they had warned her about the dangers of chasing money and a fast life. She made the decision to terminate the pregnancy, but the procedure went wrong. Georgina lost much more than she bargained for. The doctor informed her that she had lost her womb, and with it, any hope of having children. The regret washed over her like a tidal wave, but it was too late. The damage had been done. Her parents were devastated, unable to understand why she had made such a reckless decision. Georgina, now broken and ashamed, spent months in solitude, trying to figure out how to repair the mess she had made of her life. She returned to school, something she never thought she would do, and began to work hard to rebuild her future. It wasn't easy, but Georgina was determined. She knew now that she had to create her own wealth, not rely on anyone else to give it to her. Years passed, and Georgina's hard work paid off. She became successful in her own right, building a career and wealth from the ground up. She adopted 2 children, giving them the love and care she never had. Georgina lived happily ever after, not because of a man, but because she learned that women, too, could be strong, independent, and wealthy. The lesson was clear: chasing a life of luxury through shortcuts leads only to regret. True wealth comes from within, from hard work, determination, and self-love. Georgina had finally found the life she had always dreamed of. And this time, she didn't need a man to complete it.